Riley.
Yeah, right, Bobby?
Next week, I'm dancing.
All right, well, our time is short, gentlemen. We're on the tail end of this episode, but what's on the schedule for you guys this week, Bobby?
Well, the eponymous show every weekday morning on ESPN 1420 from 6 to 9, and also looking forward to football on Saturday and a basketball game on Sunday. Schedule's full.
KHON2 News, and then of course Cover 2 is the season finale. We're handing out the Cover 2 awards, the third annual, and which will be the very first Marcus Mariota Award for Player of the Year as far as athletics, academics, and characters. We're very excited about that. That's Thursday, 9:30 on KHON2.
Well, I got the tip-off marathon game for Rainbow Warrior basketball tonight on ESPN2, and then got Let's Talk Sports with myself and my buddy Jordan Helly on Maui's ESPN, and hopefully some sleep tomorrow because I'll be up late here tonight. But if you want to get in touch with us, then that's great. The hashtag is BSGuys, or you can drop us an email by clicking Contact Us on ocsports.tv. We'd love to hear from you. Big mahalos to Shane Victorino for spending some time with the BS guys. And you don't even know, we spent some time with Shane Victorino. This show is like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's edited down to fit this episode here that you're seeing on OC Sports. But you can see all the extra stuff that you missed on the OC Sports Enhanced on channels 15 and 1015, or go to ocsports.tv. That's where you'll find all the extra material not included in the final edit of the show. We'll be back for another edition next Monday, whether you like it or not. But seriously, look at these faces. What's not to like? See you then.
Bobby,
Bobby's like, this is the lowest point in my broadcasting career.
He just decided at this moment that he
wow.
does not want to be a part of this show anymore.
4 decades and I'm Bo Rileying?
Inside Access on OC Sports is sponsored by Strong.
Everything hurts. Every loss this season, everything that happens bad, I'm hurting on the inside. I mean, I'm fighting, laying it all out there. It's tough to keep going every week.
Greenlee again, looking end zone. Wide open. Touchdown.
I've never really been a part of a season like this. So, I'm a winner at heart, so I'm doing what I can for the guys. Just got to find a spark.
So on 3rd and 10 from the 9, Ikakawuzi. Hit backside, Ikakawuzi dropped.
What happens, you don't get in this situation by being a great football team, and right now we're not a real good football team.
Bulldogs leading 14-7. Zach Greenlee. Will he run for it? Will he throw for it? Both for the end zone. Zach Greenlee. Is it complete? Touchdown. 8 straight losses for the UH football team. 5 in a row to Fresno State. Worse yet, beaten by the Bulldogs 4 consecutive times here in Hawaii. I'm Robert Kekaula. This is Inside Access here on OC Sports. Rainbow Warriors produced 437 yards of total offense. They had a running back rush for 126 yards and a linebacker who made 17 tackles. Still, they got shellacked. FSU sophomore quarterback Zach Greenlee, he was off the chart. And now up-tempo, they go for it. On 1st and goal, throw to the outside, touchdown. To Josh Blandon. 6 touchdown tosses to 5 different pass catchers. Greenlee throws again, complete to Olsen, and Olsen, talk about effort. Touchdown. Dude only had 7 TD passes to his credit coming in. Changes his mind yet again, buys himself some time, and then hits. Did any of you expect 6 touchdown passes from Zach Greenlee?
Not really. I mean, going into the game, scouting them, I think it was like 49% completion throwers. But today they beat us fair and square. They made the plays they needed to, and at the end of the day, that's how they won. They got what they needed to do done, and we didn't.
Oh, there's much more to the ugly story. 4 turnovers, 11 penalties for minus 132 yards. A UH player ejected. We got a lot to talk about. This is Inside Access here on OC Sports. Final score, Fresno State beating the Rainbow Warriors 42-14. Bulldogs' record improves to 3-7 overall. Their second win in conference. Hawaii 2-9, winless, 0-8 in the Mountain West.
You just hope the kids still got it in them to play hard and all that. That's the hardest part in college football when you fire the head coach with 5 games left in the season or 4 games left in the season, whatever it was. These kids know that at the end of the year we're not going to be here as their coaches, and you know, you try to just keep them going, and hopefully, you know, personally they do that. They play hard, but you have no control over it. It's kind of like working for a guy that's not really your boss.
Sound depressing? It is right now at this point. Before we get started, first of all, welcome to Inside Access here in OC Sports. I'm Robert Kikawa, Nate Ilawa, Steven Tsai, Rich Miano. In a word, where you at with UH football? Frustrated, angry? Where you at?
You said one word.
One
I'm
word.
going to give 2. It hurts.
It hurts? Kaiser, can I count? Where you
Almost
at?
3 words, what? I'm shocked, because I really thought this was going to be a good team. I thought they had the players. I thought they had the system. There was optimism. I'm starting to listen to the 75 touchdown thing, and that's not happening.
No.
No.
That was a whole lot of words, too.
That was a lot of words, Steven.
Shocked. I start with shocked.
Okay, Nate, let me change it. 15 words or less. Where you at with UH football?
Depressing comes to mind.
Yeah.
You know, with everything kind of going on and all the other things off the field, on the field, the play, and just a whole lot of things that it's just making it tough. And the experience at the stadium as well this past weekend was somewhat depressing.
It wasn't because of the rain?
That had something to do with it.
The pregame show guys were in the rain. They were crying and whining.
We were nice and dry watching you.
It was inconsistent rain, though.
It was inconsistent rain. But the way it plays out, and I don't want to name names because it's not right to call out college kids. Am I seeing that? And I hate to say this, but I got to say it. Some of them quit. Have some players checked out, called it a season, in any of your eyes?
Well, I think Coach Mason talked about, from a coaching staff, there's some fracturing. I think from a player standpoint, maybe some of the guys from the mainland that don't realize the importance of what this football team means to this state. You'd hate to think that, Robert, but at the same time, I'm not naive enough to think that that hasn't happened.
And some of it might be because of the situation. Maybe it might be a little bit understandable, but when you play for pride, you gotta lay it out there, don't you?
I think there are 2 things that happen, though. I think when you're at this point in the season where nothing matters, you're not going to go a bowl game, you're not going to have a winning record. The guys who don't play want to play now, and obviously they're not going to. You're going to still try to put out the best people. But I also thought in that game, the penalties took them out of what they were trying to do. If they're telling you every time you hit a quarterback that's going to be a penalty, you can't hit the quarterback. You slow up and they play differently. And they didn't try to say they didn't do that, but I think they did do that.
Have you seen some checking out early?
I have. and that's just one of those things, as a player, there's some guys that are on the team that are going to check out. And that's just part of how a tough season will go. I've had tough seasons in the past, and you'd like everybody to find a way to just dig deep, but not everybody's the same. If your head coach is gone, some of those guys might have had a better connection to that coach, to that position coach, or anything like that. And there's a lot of uncertainty in the air, and you'd have to think that some of these young guys may be thinking about other places, or just not putting out the effort.
Okay, Nate, you and Rich specifically, as players at the University of Hawaii, representing that institution. You put the jersey on. You walk out of the tunnel. Play your butt off. Period. Right or wrong?
That's how it is. Yeah.
Well, you and I talked about before the game, right? Name is on the back of the jersey.
Didn't have one.
Didn't have one. That was a little bit different.
Yeah. Good.
The name is always going to be on the front of the jersey, and you're playing for the whole state. So, yes, Robert, when you have a chance to play in a football game, as a defensive player, and I'm sure Nate as an offensive player, I'm trying to make as many tackles, hits. I'm trying to be Julian Jenner.
Yeah.
Every chance I get, no matter what the score is.
But you have to have that. If you walk out of the locker room and your mindset is not, I'm Nate Ilawa, I'm the best player on this field tonight. You got to believe that. Or stay in the locker room, right?
That's always the case. And I played with a group of guys.
They all thought they were the best guy in the
Exactly.
field.
And there was only one ball, and this guy was running up for the Heisman. So the thing was, once I got that ball, that might have been the last time I'm going to get it this drive, because I got other guys that are wanting to have that friendly competition of being the guy to take it across the line. And that's just how it was every night. When you put the black jersey on, for us, when we were playing, you're transforming yourself.
But did you you felt the love back then, which I don't think a lot of them feel the love now. I think now social media and stuff like that, they're more critical. There's booing, there's empty seats. And I don't think either of you really experienced that.
Well, I think what Nate said, Robert, real quickly is we would look for all of us. Who's going to make the next play? These guys are waiting for somebody else. Kennedy, Julian, whoever that is, Paul Harris. Everybody should want to make the next play.
To Steven's point, I understand that. You got to earn the love.
Yes. But if it's not there, I mean, they've lost.
Earn it.
Well, if
it's not there, you haven't earned it.
Right, but I think they've lost the love, and they got to get that love and feeling back.
You got to fight it back. But I think what you said earlier, the penalties, had a lot to do with this football game, good or bad. Hawaii gets flagged 11 times for 132 yards, 2 personal fouls, 4 roughing the passer penalties, 1 pass interference. Defensive back Nick Nelson got ejected in the first quarter. I've been told Hawaii's gotten the email from the Mountain West Conference. He's good to go at the start of the next game. So his whatever suspension, 3.5 quarters, is complete. But the way the officials called the game, it is up to Hawaii to adjust the way they play the game.
No question. You talk about basketball, what type of referees you have. You knew early on that any contact with the quarterback was going to be called. Defensive line coach Lance Semoseva, defensive coordinator Tom Mason, head coach Chris Naroli. You have to address this because it was just way too many. And some of them were not great calls, Robert, but this is how they are calling the game. Adjust your play.
You were on the field. Kyle Gifford gets flagged for roughing the passer after a false start. Whistle didn't blow until after he hit him. Guys were blocking each other. Crazy.
And that's one of the ones that, I might have not agreed with and everything. But like you're saying, prior, they're going to try to take care of these quarterbacks, and things like that. And it's unfortunate you get those kind of calls, but you still have to play at a high level. It may affect you, but you can't let them just have free will to just pass the ball and everything like that.
You got to give credit to Zach Greenlee. He knew how the game was being called, and he played to it.
Yeah. Yes.
I think the last one kind of looked like he flopped because maybe he did get poked in the eye, but that doesn't make him fall down the ground. So I think he kind of knew how they were going to call it, and he played it, and I think he played the right way. I mean, he adjusted to the referees.
Officials, the referees, were a lot to deal with for some of the Hawaii players.
Those personal fouls we had on the quarterback, I mean, that killed us. But we got to keep going. I mean, we got down into a slump for a little bit, and we just kind of were panicking out there. I felt like the guys weren't doing their assignments. Guys were just kind of out there freelancing. I mean, I haven't seen the film. I don't know who was doing what, but we just got to stay together. The team, we can't panic. Can't ever panic. Once you start panicking, things get bad.
It was weird. Really. I just, I think the kids kind of got down after it, and, we quit believing in what we were doing, and then we gave up a couple of big plays there, and all of a sudden the game got a hand on us. So it was a weird feeling to see that happen, but, it's just one of those things.
Did you guys feel some of those penalties were nonsense?
I don't know. I mean, I'm out there just playing, so, I mean, it's a tough call. But, I mean, if that's what they saw, that's what they saw. I mean, I can't really – they train to do that. I mean, I train to play football. They train to ref games, so.
What a politically correct answer. That's Hawaii linebacker Julian Jenner. Look at those numbers. 5'11", 225-pound senior gets credit for 16 tackles and since been adjusted to 17 tackles for Julian Jenner, 11 of them solo stops, 5 tackles for loss of yards, and 1.5 sacks. Did that kid leave it all on the field?
He did, and he's been doing that, this season, and it's amazing to watch. It's something that inspires me. I wish I can get out there and kind of help him because he's playing with like his hair's on fire. He's out there just trying to make plays. Him talking about not worrying about the refs, just stepping his game up more. That's what you got to do. You can't control the flags being thrown. You just can only control your attitude and your effort, and he does a real good job at that.
And this coming up, I thought was absolute nonsense. Julian Jenner gets flagged for pass interference when what he's doing is what he's supposed to be doing.
I was playing my technique. I was talking to the coaches. They felt like I could have got my head around a little bit earlier to try to change up that call, but that's what they called, and I got to roll with it. I mean, I got to play better next time.
You're a guy, every time you step on the field, whatever you got in your tank, you're going to leave it out there, aren't you?
Yeah, every play, every down, every second of every game, I'm leaving it out there for my boys. If I got to be crawling off the field after a series, that's fine with me. Just whatever my team needs to get it done.
In his 17 tackles, 2 on 4th down in the first quarter to get Hawaii the ball back on down. A little bit later on Inside Access, interim head coach Chris Naiole will get his insight on what he told his players on how to deal with the officiating. Welcome back to Inside Access here on OC Sports. Hawaii running back Paul Harris, 5'11", 190-pound junior, 26 carries against the Bulldogs for 126 yards. You get over the 100-yard mark again. I'm assuming that's all pointless to you with the result.
Yes, I wouldn't be able to do it without my linemen and the outside receivers blocking, so it's a pat on the back to them, but it really doesn't mean nothing to me because we still got a L. I'd rather have 0 yards, no stats, and a W, so that's where I'm at with it.
Welcome back. I'm Robert Kikaula with Nate Ilawa, Steven Tsai, Rich Mayano, and this is Inside Access here on OC Sports. Stuck offense. It's been a struggle. At this point, it's come down to players at some point are going to have to make plays. We continue to see drop passes. We continue to hear them say we shot ourselves in the foot. The only remedy to that, make a play. Is that what you're saying? What you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, throughout the game, and you saw Fresno, who had 2 wins at the time. They look like they're just more in sync. Guys were, a lot of those play-action waggles coming out the backside. Guys are wide open. They're finding guys getting open, catching passes and things like that. When you have a 100-yard rusher, the passing game's got to come up. Your play-action's got to start helping you. And then when you have bad decisions from the quarterbacks and you have drop passes, that just crushes drives, and momentum and everything when it comes to that.
Back-to-back outings by Hawaii's offense, they go over 400 yards of total offense, but 7 turnovers in the last 2 games by the Rainbow Warriors on offense. That stings.
This is like 3 weeks in a row where they've had 4 turnovers. And the opponent, in this case, Fresno State, has 0. So, Robert, when you have a minus 1.91, essentially you're giving the opponent 2 opportunities all season long. They're 127th in the country. There's only 127 FBS teams. You are not going to win football games, and then you compound that with penalties, and then you compound that with, you're talking about technical stuff, catching the ball, timing, all these other things. Offensive identity is continuing to struggle.
Here's what kind of puts it all into perspective. Both quarterbacks, Hawaii starter Ikaika Woolsey and Max Wittig, who got the call to come out in the second half, both quarterbacks threw interceptions on their first pass attempts. That gets you into a deep hole immediately, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just disheartening because you're starting your drives on that side of the field, on your own side of the field, and it's just tough to put the defense back on the field again. And they've had the opportunities. They were in the red zone twice and just couldn't score.
So Ikaika Woolsey throws his early. Max Wittig comes in, throws 2 interceptions, in fact, in the second half. The offense never really got going. Now the numbers, let's start with Ikaika Woolsey. He started the game at quarterback. 8 of 20, 92 yards, a touchdown and interception. Max Wittig, 12 of 29, 153 yards, and 2 INTs. That's the not so good. Here's what I thought was the really good. Makoa Kamance Stevens, 6'4", 205 pounds, a junior from Kailua, Kamehameha graduate. He stepped up his game. And again, just like that, they go up-tempo. Makoa Kamance Stevens.
That was an awesome feeling. I've never actually caught a receiving touchdown because I played quarterback at my junior college and high school. So to actually catch a touchdown, it was a new feeling. I've never experienced it before, but it's awesome. I played here in high school, and my senior year, I specifically remember taking a picture in the stadium because I wasn't sure if I was ever going to play in the stadium ever again. And to be able to come back out here it's a blessing. And to play in front of my family and the home crowd is just that's enough for me to want to just play every snap like it's my last, because nothing's guaranteed in football. So the way I look at it is every time I step out on the field, I just want to play the best of my ability, play as hard as I can for my teammates, coaches, and family in the state of Hawaii.
That is what I'm talking about.
Chicken skin.
Chicken skin. Walk on.
And you and I talked about all broadcasts. Let somebody else try to catch that quick slant that's not afraid. Where are the walk-ons? Where's Ryan Pasaquin? Where is Duke Bukowski? Where is Jason Maroka? Those were the kind of guys that you know this game means a lot to them. This program means a lot to them. And I think that's another problem with this program is where are those guys? Finally, we have one that's productive.
His actions, to me, in that game, were saying to the coaches in a real simple form. If nobody wants to give it a try, nobody wants to, I'll take it.
Yeah. And it was the same at UNLV. You know, he was kind of showing you glimpses there. And, you know, just that, you know, that tidbit right there, you know, just shows the type of players that are here on the island, that there are maybe on the bench that coach is talking about here. And that's how I felt when I came out. I didn't grow up here in Hawaii, but my family was here. And it wasn't a time that I would think that I'd hate coming out of the locker room had I lost or let them down or didn't do my best. And I'd do everything I could for them to come out, you know, and give people a show, you know, to get their money's worth, you know, to give back.
Makoa Kamance Stevens got his chance, loved his chance, and wants more chances.
For me, I have 2 more years and see how hard my parents work and my family and how much they support me. And I just feel like it's my duty to step out there, and it's a blessing to play football. Like I love this sport, and it's honestly a blessing to get this opportunity. So I just don't want to let it go to waste. I just try to every play as hard as I can and do what the coaches ask to the best of my ability.
So Makoa Kamance Stevens is looking for a strong finish. And Nate, as you mentioned, he had started coming on early in the game. He got his action in Wisconsin. That's what he usually did growing up. He was a quarterback. And then as the season goes along, he gets more opportunities, keeps making his way onto the field. His actions are saying, I want to play. I will not be surprised if against San Jose State this weekend, that guy, 83, is a starter at receiver and well-deserved. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, what excuse can you use? He's not smart enough. He's not fast enough. He's not tall enough. He is producing. Put me in, coach. That's what he was probably saying for the last 11 games. Finally, he's getting opportunity.
It's crazy. I'm not sure if you guys caught that. It's the first touchdown reception, not of his UH career, of his life. And it comes at this level. It's crazy.
Well, he leads in everything, too. I think he has the highest quarterback rating on the team. He has the long pass. He's got 4 or 5 special teams tackles. And he actually was recruited by Abe, or encouraged to join as a walkout by Abe Elimimian as a defensive back. And then all of a sudden, Chow wouldn't let him go. And then he's on offense. He's really paying off. And he also leads, I think, in receiving yards per catch.
Per catch, yeah.
So he's an amazing guy.
Now, the score being what it was, 42-14, Bulldogs beat Hawaii. Look at how Fresno State finished the game. And often in this game of football, especially at college, it's the coaching cliche, finish strong. Start fast, finish strong. Here's how you close a game. Fresno State, in the fourth quarter, had one series that went 18 plays, all of the plays, run plays, covered 82 yards, and took off 10 minutes and 19 seconds off the game clock. Nate, that's how you finish a game, isn't it?
Well, that's what you want to do. You get up big, you want to be able to run the ball, get the clock going, get it out of there, keep it out of the opposing team's offense's hands. That happened to us at Boise one time where we were riled up in the third. They took like the whole third quarter one time, and it just killed us.
It just takes the air right out of the balloon, doesn't it?
It does. And, you know, it's interesting, though. Hawaii ran, almost 90 plays, 80-something plays, and yet they didn't have the ball in the fourth quarter hardly. So, I mean, they had so many opportunities, and nothing happened.
I've never seen 18 plays go 82 yards and result in no points. But still, that's how you close a game.
Yeah, and how demoralizing is it when you know they're not going to throw the football, and you still can't stop them. That, to me, it hurts to lose, but that really hurts because they're telling you what they're going to do, and you can't dial something up to stop them.
When Inside Access returns after this timeout, we got some Uptown Funk for you. And we'll be joined by interim head coach, Chris Naiole.
Inside Access on OC Sports is sponsored by Strong.
There you see Hawaii offensive lineman R.J. Hollis. And as much as we talked about Julian Jenner bringing the energy to the field, Makoa Kamanse Stevens, a never-give-up attitude, R.J. was fighting the entire game and didn't take a seat until it was all said and done. But R.J.'s got all kinds of juice, and earlier in the week, R.J. Hollis and a bunch of other guys decided to change the music at Aloha Stadium between the third and fourth quarter. They wanted fans to get all jazzed up and all jumped up, so they made this video. And you have to admit, the crowd reaction that night, the Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars, was pretty cool.
That's great. I mean, everybody's up dancing, and and it's something different. But I was liking it. It was a little bit, I don't know, better. But West Virginia song, I was like, let's keep that at West Virginia.
If you can dance, you can play football. That's one of the first things we look for as a recruiter is the hips, right, Robert? Polynesians, African Americans. I was an anomaly, not saying I was a great football player, but I can't dance. I'm just going to say it right now.
Steven, where were you in the video?
I was there trying to get shade. Cover me.
Film me.
It was wet. No, it's good. I mean, this is good. It shows the other side of the players, and they have a lot of personality, and I think people need to see that.
The only thing missing
was a win.
Was a competitive ball game in between the third and fourth quarter. So it was fun stuff, and it was the idea of interim head coach Chris Naiole to try and change things up. And that guy joins us now here on Inside Access. The ugly. Adjusting to how officials call a game. Some of those calls were questionable, so be it. It is what it is. But they got to react to it, don't they?
I told the kids this morning, you can't blame it on the referees, You got to go out there, you got to be disciplined. They're going to call it, how they think they should be called. That's their job. I told the kids, it's like the Secret Service and the IRS, even though when you think you're right, you're still wrong. So, we'll just leave it as that and continue. Because, at the end of the day, you got to give credit to Fresno State. They made more plays than we did.
Was that just a personal flashback with the IRS thing?
You can't win, man. Uncle Sam is a grown man.
Odds are, whether you're playing football yourself, whether you're playing jacks with the kids or hopscotch or kickball, whatever, odds are you're a competitor. If you're playing, are you getting enough of that from these kids?
I think not right now. I think, something goes bad on the sideline, you can kind of hear the tire just deflating, I think we need to be, I told the kids we can go two ways right now. I said you can show up because you have to and collect your check, or you can show up and because it means something. You can take pride and finish these two games off strong.
Pride, this generation sometimes, this group of kids, not this era, not just personally these kids, but this era. Is there enough pride at stake in things that they do on the field?
I don't know, man. This era is all about, texting, Facebook, and, I'm kind of out of date. I feel like I'm young, but, compared to these guys, it's a whole different culture, a whole different era. It's got to mean something to you. I know it does for some guys, like a Jenner, like a McCoy, Ben Clark. It means some stuff to some of these guys. I just hope it means a lot to more of the guys.
Right on. Good luck this week, man.
Appreciate it.
You guys get that? IRS and Secret Service. Even when you're right, you're wrong. More Inside Access when we come back. Welcome back to Inside Access. Time to talk fantasy football like we do each week with our OC fantasy guru. Joining us from parts unknown, Derek Homa. Derek, 4-1, baby.
Nice.
First time ever.
Nice.
Yes.
It's a
Who's good
weekend
this
for
week?
you. I think, we're going to start with this animated GIF, and I think it sums up the whole day of Sunday in just absolute enjoyment. I think this is, and you got to take a look at it. It's the greatest moment. I think the cameraman caught it perfect. Andre Ellington running for the end zone, and backup quarterback Drew Stanton with the jumping on the line. Yeah, celebrating on his own.
He had no idea. He was going to go viral.
Kick the door down all over social media this morning. Big news. Cardinals win, but this dance right here on his own, sheer enjoyment, but an animated gift for ages. And if you started Antonio Brown and you saw Roethlisberger come in, that's exactly how you felt. 10 receptions, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, 27 fantasy points. Big Ben peppering him with targets all game long, and he produced. Huge stud. But the other guy, Jeremy Langford, I mean, the future is bright for the Chicago Bears backfield, basically, and I think people are wondering what's going to happen with Matt Forte. But with Langford playing the way he's playing, I think Forte is off to free agency, and the Bears are going to run with this guy. And if they run with this guy is a top running back pick, first round indeed, no doubt.
Did any player have an uglier Sunday than Broncos quarterback Peyton Manning?
Oh, yeah, so sad. And we go to our second meme, and yeah, hey, Favre, your interception record is next.
Because he broke Favre's yardage record.
Yes, the new NFL passing leader, Peyton Manning, had a rough Sunday. The stat line was not good. 5 for 20, 35 yards, 4 interceptions, no touchdowns, -7 fantasy points.
Wow.
-7. And believe it or not, that wasn't the worst point total for fantasy. It was the New Orleans Saints defense who got a quick runner-up with -10 fantasy points.
And they may lose their defensive coordinator, Rob Ryan.
The rumor is up, definitely. But Manning, yeah, tough day. But I think they're saying it's a plantar fascia injury, basically, and Brock Osweiler is already slated as a starting quarterback on Sunday. I think uptick for Demaryius and Emmanuel Sanders. So run with those two guys this weekend against a questionable Chicago defense.
And who's Gomer Pyle this week? Who is surprise?
We go back. I mean, we go to another meme, and it's Landry Jones on the phone calling his mom saying, yep, you can turn the TV off now. Big Ben is taking over. First drive of the game, and Big Ben was back in. Midfoot sprain, came in and delivered the goods. I mean, questionable to play even. Came in as a backup role, and 22 for 33, 379 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 27 fantasy points. Huge surprise on a bye this week, but definitely, I mean, the Steeler offense is so different with him at quarterback. Just the machine just runs with Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, and D'Angelo Williams. Feel comfortable starting him when he gets out of the bye week. Our other surprise, Sharkhandrick West, Sharknado, Charizard, whatever nickname you want, the guy is off the hook, and a huge fill-in for the second half with Jamal Charles going down. Finished 24 rushes, 69 yards, 3 receptions, 92 yards, so doing it in the passing game as well. 2 touchdowns, 27 fantasy points. Guaranteed RB1 here on out.
And now we got more good stuff, don't we?
We do.
We got more fun stuff.
We do. The Color Rush game, right? Nike, the NFL, Thursday Night Football, and the Starbucks cups. That's what it looked like. It was Christmas on Thursday. It was the Jets versus the Bills.
So the whole colorblind thing, everybody was going crazy over that.
It's tough. And this Thursday, Titans versus Jaguars, and guess what? Yeah, it's the Star Trek game. It's Captain Kirk versus Spock. But yeah, I like it. I like the new fresh take on the uniform. Definitely for the colorblind people, it's tough. But Nike's kind of allowing the NFL to stretch themselves with their uniforms and their jerseys. So I like it.
And just so our viewers know, who's your quarterback on fantasy this past weekend?
Oh, man. I started Peyton Manning. I did. Roethlisberger was hurt. He wasn't supposed to play. And I said, Peyton Manning's going to break the record. He's at home.
Oh, that's brutal.
I'm a Chiefs fan. They're not doing well. I thought, run with it. And, -7.
It is brutal. I want to thank Derek Holmbutter for joining Inside Access. We're talking fantasy football. See you next week.
Thanks, Art.
Let's get ready to go. Sponsored by Supercuts.
Well, ready or not, up next for Hawaii, the Spartans of San Jose State. 4-6 overall, 3-3 in the Mountain West Division. What they did last week was give a good game to Nevada. Spartans lost to the Wolfpack in overtime, 37-34, but their quarterback, Kenny Potter, 15 of 23, 186 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and he rushed 19 times for 116 yards. And by all accounts, San Jose might be better than Fresno State, UNLV, and I thought maybe New Mexico until the Lobos beat Boise State in the Mountain West Conference. it's going to be a tough weekend for Hawaii.
One of the stats on that screen was Tyler Irvin had 332 yards against Fresno. So they can run the football. The quarterback is hot now. This is a better football team than Fresno. Hawaii's going to have to play much better.
Hawaii's going to get all they can handle when the Spartans come to town Saturday night, Aloha Stadium.
And you know what they're going to do? They're going to run the ball. No surprise. And it's another great running back that they're going to see. And they've seen a lot of great running backs this year.
What are you thinking this weekend?
Go for broke. You know what I'm saying? Play everybody. You know, get those kids out there to just, you know, play their hearts out. You know, San Jose is going to be a hungry team wanting to get a win. You know, they're looking at this as maybe an easier game for them. But, you know, as Hawaii, you just get out there and give it your all and, you know, bring maximum effort.
I was going to ask you something. I forgot to ask you. With all the players that stepped up, Makoa, Kamante Steven, Julian Jenner, how's that one run by Ryan Tuiasoa from Puno? Tell me they just put a smile on your face to see a guy who's not the biggest, not the fastest, not the quickest, but to play that hard and run with such grit. Doesn't it put a smile on your face?
It does, because, I mean, you know, as players, you know how hard guys are working. Yeah. And some guys that don't get their shots, and it's always great, you know, like McCall you're seeing, you know, once they get an opportunity, they're running with it, literally. So it's great to see.
Oh, you like big backs, don't you?
Always, you know.
Hey, I know what you're thinking. That picture of Kennedy Tulimaseli'i lifting that tight end in the backfield. Hawaii could use moments like that against San Jose State.
I mean, you go to games to watch a great performance, but I think there's a lot of fans that go to watch Kennedy because that guy is a great player. And then when you throw in Julian Jenner and you throw in guys like Jerry Garcia-Williams and you throw in Paul Harris is playing well, Makoa Kamante Stevens, those are the kind of guys, even Rigo, we talked about this, he's having a great year as a punter, but it's hard to wipe out all the negative of this team, but let's stay positive and, like Nate says, go for broke.
Why not? For Rich Mayano, for Steven Tsai, for Nate Ilawa, for our entire crew, I'm Robert Kikawa. Thanks for watching Inside Access here in OC Sports.
It was one of the big shockers of the weekend, guys. Ronda Rousey getting KO'd by Holly Holm. If you were putting the headline together for that fight and the result, what would it be?
Drowsy Rousey.
Sup, Holmes?
Yeah, I like both of those.
Bank of Hawaii is proud to sponsor this program. But seriously.
Hey, welcome to another edition of But Seriously. We've got a lot to talk about. We'll get started on the Stan Sheriff Center hardwood, though, where the Eran Ganot era got its official debut this weekend, and we were treated to 2 nice victories. All right, the maestro, yes, Roderick Bobbitt. He was hot rod for 2 games so far this weekend. This is a guy right now, guys, who is leading the team in scoring, averaging 16.5 points per game. He has 18 assists through 2 games compared to just 3 turnovers. He has exhibited some range and ability to shoot the 3 to go along with his quick hands. We know how he led the nation in steals last year with 100 total steals. What do you make of this year's edition so far of Roderick Bobbitt?
I think he looks better this year than he did last year. He's adapted beautifully to the 30 rule changes because he's not getting in foul trouble, and it hasn't diminished the number of steals he's getting. He's been absolutely fabulous thus far.
And that might be the biggest surprise because he, as Eran Ganot puts it, is a bit of a handsy defender.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fear was Eran Ganot doesn't play the same style that Benji Taylor did as far as letting these guys loose and just go and get the basketball, play whatever lane you want as far as long as you come up with the ball. There's a little more structure, but it looks like he enjoys that structure, and he's taking what Eran Ganot wants out of him, and he's doing the best. I think maestro is the best way to put his playing style and what he's done in this offense. Who knew he could shoot like that?
Yeah, courtesy Artie Wilson on the nickname there. But the other thing is, against Montana State, the opening win for Hawaii, he played 39 minutes. The second game, the win against Coastal Carolina, he played the entire game. Mm-hmm. Can they keep that up? Can he play those kinds of heavy minutes here going forward? We
actually asked Eran Ganot that exact question, and he said, taking from his St. Mary's experience, that they played point guards that much. I mean, it was figure 39 minutes. It's funny, he took him out for that 1 minute, and Bobbitt was on him. Get me back in. He wants to play, and that's what you want from your point guard.
Slamming. Aaron Valdez continued to do some Aaron Valdez things. A lot of dunks, a lot of high-flying, high-wire type actions. He had 18 points in the opener against Montana State. Just 12 points, though, in only 19 minutes time because of foul trouble against Coastal Carolina. So the reviews of Aaron Valdez, the lone player from Hawaii on the preseason All-Big West team.
Good scorer, can put it on the floor. I mean, he just can get you in so many ways, but his hops are absolutely out of control. It's got to be one of the great. Not just does he get up high, gets up quick. And he's going to be a force. The dribble drive, where he goes baseline and just flushes it. Fun to watch. Most exciting player on the team.
He was one of the guys that we thought would be counted on to hit outside threes. He's only made one in 2 games so far. Other guys have been able to carry the load there so far. What do you make of Aaron Valdez here?
I think there's no denying his talent. We all saw what he's capable of over the last couple of years, and he progresses each and every year. I think the thing that gets overlooked with Aaron Valdez is how much being a team player means to him. When you look at the Chaminade exhibition where he had to play the center position because of foul trouble, because of injuries, and he didn't take a second to think about it. He just went in there and started banging down low. I mean, I think it's going to take that kind of effort as this team goes on because they're thin down low. I mean, I'm saying that Aaron Valdez is going to have to play the center, but there are going to be some situations that players will be playing out of position, and for a guy like that, a leader on the team, to step up and say, you know what, that's what I'm all about. I will do whatever it takes for this team. I think that goes a long way, a lot more than just his talent.
Maybe not a lot of people talk about his defense, but he has some of the toughest defensive assignments game in and game out. All right, real quick, who would you say is the great, because he's a great dunker, who's your pick for greatest dunker in Rainbow Warrior history?
I think Aaron Galloway.
Ooh, the helicopter.
But he's just such a big guy that it's almost not as impressive.
Yeah, he was like his toes were dragging on the floor.
That's why, I mean, I'll go with a small guy because Anthony Carter was as good at the alley-oop for his size at 6'1". He would get his elbow on the rim. That was impressive.
A couple other guys.
How about Justice Soon?
Casey Cartwright as well, and Roderick Flemings.
So for the 4th straight year, Hawaii off to a 2-0 start. This time, though, under first-year head coach Eran Ganot. Now, it should be stated at the time of this taping, Hawaii is still gearing up for the 11 p.m. ESPN tip-off marathon game against Nevada. But let's talk about what we can talk about, which is the 2-0 start. Eran Ganot, this system, the style of play, how impressed have you been? Where do you see maybe room for improvement, Bobby?
Well, I think there's a couple things they need to work on, and obviously the backline defense, the rotation, sometimes transition, easy layups for opponents. I think the perimeter defense is quite good, but they're going to have to get a backside rotation and get those problems sorted out.